Hello everybody, welcome to episode 2 of someone who knows nothing about solo RPGs trying to get into solo RPGs. So from our last episode, you could say, from episode 1, I've actually been doing a little bit of work behind the scenes, and it's more because I had suddenly lots of little ideas and lots of little kind of concepts in my head that I was thinking, could that work, could that work, could that work? In order to just make things a bit more fun, exciting, interesting, as well as start fleshing out some ideas of rules, mechanics, but also rules to keep us honest. So the idea that, one example which I'll be going through earlier is obviously there's lots of hexes here. What do they mean? How does travel time work with hexes and so on? So stuff to kind of just stew over. I did a lot of stewing, I did lots of drinking cups of tea and staring out the window wistfully, and we've come up with some fun stuff, and I'd like to share that with you. So the first thing, obviously visually here, you'll notice I've sectioned off the left-hand side of this piece of paper. Because we have 10 planetary bodies, I have 10 sections here, and this is going to be a really simple quick reference for each planet and what they are. And you'll notice that I've already distinguished a couple of them. The first one being number 9 down here. So number 9 in the box here, and number 9 is this planet in the bottom right. That's going to be a gas giant. How I determined that was I realised that gas giants in our own solar system are in the kind of third quarter of us, halfway to third quarter of our solar system. So I basically picked orbits 7, 8 and 9, and I rolled a d3 for kind of 1, 2 or 3, and it came up as that. So number 9 became a gas giant. I thought that was a nice, really simple way to randomly determine what it would have been. In addition to that, I made the solar system capital. Because we had 10 planets, I thought, why not make it slap bang in the middle? So I've made it as orbit 5, which is all the way up here in the north of the map, for wherever north is in space. And last but by no means least, which gets onto the main part, is this entry here, Scout Base for number 4. Planet orbit 4 is here, so it's quite central to where all the planetary bodies are at the moment. I do want to reiterate that whilst I am aware that this is a solar system map, and I am aware that planets do move, but for the sake of simplicity and brevity, I will not be doing planetary orbits, like moving the planets around. Whilst I appreciate, it would be great to do that, let's keep things simple and let's not worry about that for now. So for all intents and purposes, these are static. So just to add that small bit of fine print, because I'm sure someone will comment. Anyway, Scout Base number is on planet number 4. What is a Scout Base? So this is where I had to kind of figure things out with the direction I wanted to take the campaign and what kind of adventure I wanted. What kind of game did I want to roll dice and write stuff down and notate stuff? And I looked back on the initial notes that we made on day 1, where I want to play a science fiction game themed on Traveller, retrofuturism, Firefly, and Alien 1. That was the kind of mood board to dictate where I wanted this campaign to go. Why? Because I like these things. Simple as that. I just made a list of things that I liked and ran with it. So I went back to Traveller. Traveller RPG system I know very well, and I wanted to use that as inspiration for where I wanted this game to go. And for all intents and purposes, from this point onwards, if you want to follow on with the inspiration or where I get it, and kind of you're curious as to where I get my ideas from, there is a Traveller rulebook called Cepheus Faster Than Light, or Cepheus FTL. That is a completely free publication using the OSR? I'm not entirely sure on the terminology, but using the kind of the publicly available bare bones of what makes Traveller. Pretty good system, actually, and it's completely free on Drive-Thru-RPG. But if you are curious as to where I get numbers from or where I reference things, I would highly recommend that. Cepheus Faster Than Light. Other options I looked at were, Stars Without Number was another thing. There's like a free version of that. It's all kind of similar flavours, but for some consistency, I'll be looking at Cepheus Faster Than Light for my inspiration. So I thought you wanted to know that. So with that in mind, I looked at Cepheus Faster Than Light, and I looked at kind of what interesting jobs or careers or what adventure themes does Cepheus recommend. And of course you have the classic adventure tropes. You've got a military campaign, a political campaign, and an exploration campaign. And these are things that are tropes you'll see across RPGs and stories in general. They're major kind of points of interest, or story points of interest. And I was attracted to what in Traveller are called scouts. And scouts are in the Traveller universe, they are a sort of non-government organisation that deal with exploration, couriering, or rather they do courier work for like high-profile, like parcel work, post work. They manage the ships that deal with communications and so on. And they also do surveying as well, planetary surveying, exploration, that kind of thing. So those three things I thought are quite an interesting arc, where we have a career path that forces exploration upon us, and surveying means that we're going to be going to potentially unexplored areas in order to check it out. And I thought, cool, that's a pretty like easy adventure hook to throw us in. Let's keep things simple. And so that's what I've decided, that our crew, our intrepid crew consisting of Ristel, Duncan, Drint and Fiona, are going to be part of a scout ship and therefore a scout crew. In addition to the characters, I've added a little bit of information here as well that I wanted to let you know. I decided to add a little bio kind of sentence, and this was to remind myself of their career history, just a little prompt sentence, and I'll share them with you now. So you may remember character number 1, Merchant Nobleman, Bristol. Their bio is shunned from distant family, and they're a bit of a con artist. Number 2, Duncan, the pirate colonist. Bio, rough colony with rough people. I thought that was short and sharp enough to get the message across as to this kind of person. Drint, the scientist merchant, I put as a data analyst for a shipping company. You know, the computing, engineering, navigation, like this person knows a lot about shipping in general. And Fiona, the Navy scientist. I struggled with this one quite a bit, because Navy scientist, how on earth does that work? But I came up with an academic that got drafted, and this opens up a really exciting angle in this world, I say worlds, that we're making. Because if an academic got drafted, that means that means a couple of things, but the first thing that come to mind is, does that mean that there is a conflict ongoing? Or does that mean that there is a conflict that has finished that is now simmering and we're dealing with the after effects? So this little bio here of Fiona being an academic that got drafted spontaneously has given us a really interesting dynamic to the setting as well. The fact that there is a war, a recent war of some capacity. Because of that as well, I changed Fiona's specialties. Instead of having computers as well, because they were a scientist, I made them a medic. I thought, well, maybe they were a really potent academic, but then a lot of their life skills, a lot of their recent specialities and life skills came from the Navy. Also because computers is covered by the merchant data analyst above. And again, I can change things. Why? And you are free to change things as well, if you do this, because, who are you writing this for? You're writing this for you. You're not after publishing it to a wider audience, right? I also discovered, regarding character details, on these on these charts that I explained last session. Again, I'll link these below. There's a section here under characters which talks about motivations, and I realised what an excellent little thing to further add a bit of depth to our characters. So on our characters, I've added just the singular word of motivation. I rolled these all up, so just to give us a bit of an idea as to where these characters are going. So Ristal the nobleman is motivated by adventure. Duncan the pirate is motivated by revenge, which is huge. This is a story arc in itself that we can explore if something comes up. The scientist merchant, they came up with motivated by power, and I was kind of wondering how to interpret this, and I realised that they worked for a shipping company. Maybe they whilst are currently working for the Scout Service, their intent is to become, like, maybe own their own company or start their own company or something. Like they want to own things, like assets, a ship maybe, in order to kind of have their own power. So I think that's the interpretation of power that we're going for. And then Fiona, the Navy academic, the drafted academic, I rolled wealth, and I thought super simple. Like they're working for money. They're working to purely for coin or credits or whatever currency we want to use. But I thought, yeah, just a little flavouring for the characters, and I'm really happy with where these characters are now. Like I can at a glance, we have a bio, a motivation, some stats, some specialities, and I know, boom, yes, I know what these people are about, which is kind of cool. So the next aspect as well is these 4 are all working for the Scouts, and so therefore they have I've decided to give them a Scout ship, which is again a thing in the Traveller universe. And on this page here, I've written down I don't want to say mechanics of the ship, but just traits of the ship. In the Cepheus Faster Than Light rulebook, these are much more detailed. I want to simplify everything down because I've no intention of running the full Cepheus Faster Than Light rule set, because it's just me. This is a simple little game. But I've taken what could best be described as keywords and key points for us to be mindful of later. So the first of one is that the Scout ship is a small ship, so that might come into consideration. It is streamlined. This is like a key thing. This means that it can enter atmosphere. So a streamlined ship can enter atmosphere and land on a planet's surface. An example of a non-streamlined ship would be the International Space Station. You know, that kind of like grid module-based vessel. If the ISS enters the atmosphere, it'll absolutely fall apart because it's just a load of modules clamped together in a really weird little shape. So yeah, streamlined, super useful. Again, all on the exploration vibe. Fuel I'll talk about in a moment because that goes back to the Hex thing. Cargo space, you know, we have stated quantity of cargo space, and that might come up for if we want to transport stuff, obviously, cargo. 4 rooms, which is great because we have 4 crew, and 1 low berth. And a low berth is a bit like a cryogenic pod. Like you can freeze somebody for long distance travel kind of thing. So that might be like used in a medical emergency. We could put someone in the low berth to be treated later, or if we need to transport somebody, we can do that. That's kind of cool. So going back up to fuel in Traveller and travel in the Traveller universe is a whole thing, and I don't want to get into it. It's explained in the rulebook, it's fine. But I kind of thought, how can I keep this simple for me and work for how I want to do it for the game that I want to run? And I realised that in the Cepheus rulebook, a scout ship has 24 tons of fuel, and I decided that whilst we are travelling around the solar system, it will take 1 ton of fuel per hex travelled, and then whilst we are stationary either in orbit or travelling between moons and just doing little things within a hex, it will just be 1 ton of fuel per week. So I'm thinking, like, when we are doing the hex travel, we're burning engines quite a bit in order to do distance, and that's more significant engine consumption, or fuel consumption, sorry. So these are the rules that we're going to stick to. That's it. Like, I'm just keeping myself honest so I can reference back to this later on. All very exciting. So one of the big things that I wanted to do now was to also explain the start of our kind of adventure and look at quests. You know, why are we doing the thing? You know, what contracts are available to us? What quests are available to us? And luckily, on these printouts, there is a quest section, a whole section on how to generate a quest. And I will explain it kind of loosely, and then I will also explain. You may notice there's some pen here that I've annotated on. It's a very simple little, you know, roll a d6 for a category, roll another d6 for the result. And if we zoom in a little bit, you probably see a couple of examples. So, you know, it's kind of the number 1 here: attack, kill, or destroy, and you roll a d6 to give you a theme, and we can make quests like this. So hopefully somewhat self-explanatory. What I've done is I have I've renumbered the chart themes to more fit the idea of a scout the scout service that I previously talked about being explorers, couriers, and surveyors. Because I was thinking, if we have a crew that are all explorers, then getting a contract to attack, kill, or destroy someone, that's not really on brand. That's not really very fitting. But it might be possible. So the numbers in ink that I've written down, whenever I generate a quest, if I roll a 1, it's a delivery quest. I kept that as just as a 1 because delivery quests aren't the most exciting thing as you go from A to B, that's fine. If I roll a 2 or a 3, it's find or recover something. Now this is exciting. This is more going into the exploration, maybe the surveying thing as well. If I roll a 4 or a 5, it's explore and discover. Again, exploration, surveying, cool little sort of quest ideas. And the other 3, if I roll a 6, I can then I'll just generate from one of these. And I'm thinking that if I ever roll a 6 for a quest, that's an external contract. Maybe something mercenary related, something a little bit special comes up. And this is where these more unique quest ideas come from. So which kind of lends into perhaps the mercenary work that our crew might also be doing on the side as well. So hopefully that makes some sense. I will obviously see this in action shortly, but I just wanted to kind of, for those of you that are acquainted with these sheets, I thought I just wanted to explain my adjustments. So now that we have our crew, we have a map of the area, we've figured out what kind of quests we're going to do, let's actually generate some quests and see what we're going to end up doing. So on recommendation from someone else, I've heard that, let's generate 3 quests from here, and then we can pick the one we want to do. So with where the quest is, luckily because we have 10 planets, I will roll a d10 to determine the location. Or like the rough area, the direction it is in, may be easier. So, first quest. So let's go for, let's write this down. Let's start this adventure. So we go day 1. Quests. What is available to us? Let's figure this out. So, going on our chart, we obviously want to roll a d6. We got a 2, and a 2 is a find or recover. So quest number 1 is to find or recover. And then we roll another d6 for what it is. I got a 1, which is away to another world. Super interesting. So could that be a... Oh, so way to another world is obviously sort of fantasy, like plane travel, like dimension traveling. Because this is more of a grounded science fiction thing, I think a way to another world might be a new moon, perhaps, or a new path to somewhere. So I'm thinking that we have a planet that might be very inaccessible, or a moon that's very inaccessible. No, let's go for a planet that's horrifically inaccessible, and we've been asked to find a way through it. Maybe there are crazy storms, or it's a water planet that we need to try and find a way down. I think there's there's a planet that is crazy inaccessible, and we've been asked to try and find a way to it. So find and recover, way to... I'll put way to another world here because this is what we rolled, and then we'll add our interpretation. So what was it? Way to another world was going to be the access. Let's do access to a moon, or in fact, let's roll some dice. So we know moon or planet. I was about to put moon or planet. Let's do 1, 2, 3. It's a moon, and 4, 5, 6. It's the main planet. 5. It's a main planet. So access to a planet. So obviously this could be, so obviously somewhere here there's a planet that's really accessible. Now what planet is it going to be? So luckily we have 10 planets, so I'll roll a d10. Now obviously we already know that 4 and 5 are the scout base and system capital, so I'm probably not going to... So if I get those results, I might re-roll them depending on what's going on. So let's roll. I got a 4, so it's the scout base. Oh, maybe... Ooh, so maybe the area that the scout base is on is not fully explored. Yeah, so maybe the scout base is actually a minor colony. Let's write that down. Let's make a decision. So the scout base is actually a minor colony of the system capital. And because the scout base is, it doesn't have to worry about the major shipping traffic from the system capital or any noise. It works a bit independently. Cool. But the planet that we're on, obviously, is not fully explored. Ooh, yeah. So access to... Let's change this to access to part of Planet 4. Yeah, so access to part of Planet 4. Okay, super interesting. Yeah, so this will actually be, hilariously, this quest here is going to be a bit of a hex crawl between of regions. This is kind of cool. We'll obviously get a new map out for Planet 4 and figure that out. How exciting. Now the... what was I going to say? Yes, so quest number 2. Let's get 3 quests out and we can pick. So, D3. It's a 3. That means find or recover again. That's cool. If we get another 1, I will re-roll it because I want to have some variety. A 1, yeah, okay. 4. 4 is an artifact. Ooh. So, obviously, this could be technology, a missing, maybe like there's a ship, maybe like a ship has crashed and we have to recover the black box. Maybe there is a highly prized piece of sort of scientific gubbins. So that's exciting. Now, here's a thought. It could be on a ship somewhere, which means it might still be in space. So is it... I think the question we have to ask ourselves is it in space or on a planet? And I'm going to make it 50-50. So if it's 4, 5, 6, it's in space. It's in space. Artifact in space. So in that case, I think there is a... So this is a highly valuable thing in space, which means a ship... There's a ship in space that... something's happened to it. We have to board it and get on it. Oh, so this is basically a dungeon crawl. This is going to be a dungeon crawl of a ship. So, is there an abandoned ship or a missing ship? Let's not worry about the details too much. All we know is that there is a ship in space needs to be found. Cool. And we'll worry about the details if we decide that. And then let's do quest number 3. Oh, hold on a minute. Actually, for quest number 2, we do need to figure out... I think we know where the ship is. And so there might be value in figuring out the location now. It needs to be found and an item recovered. Okay, so let's figure out where the ship is. Or where the ship was last. Ooh, that might be a cool idea. It would have been in orbit around a planet. Yeah, let's figure out which planet the ship was last in orbit around. 6. Okay. Where's planet 6? Oh, planet 6 is actually quite nearby. Okay. So we'll just say last known position, planet 6. Cool, and we will expand on this if we choose it, but that gives us just a little bit of flavour to whet the appetite before we commit. Now the third quest that we're going to go for, oh, excuse the ribbons, I'll probably best get rid of them. Third quest we're going to go for, so what type? It's a 3, again, another find and recover. If the first result is something we've already had, I'll re-roll it, but I'll stick to the second result. A 1, which is a way to another world, so I'll re-roll it. A 2. Find or recover an individual. Ooh. Okay. This is exciting. I have absolutely no idea how to interpret this. Unless the individual is part of... No, the individual I was thinking could be part of this ship in space. but I kind of want to keep these things separate. So I wonder if an individual could be a regular missing person at a... Oh, no, because if we're going down the basis of explorers and surveyors, I wonder then if instead another scout in the area has been surveying and they haven't reported back yet. So let's do that. So another scout crew or person, a solo scout. Another scout ship in the area has not reported back. Last known position, and again we'll roll for this. For where were they exploring? Like, where were they last? 2. What's the planet 2? Oh, we don't know planet 2. Last known position. Planet 2. So planet 2 is an unknown planet at this moment. Okay. Very exciting. So our 3 quests: find access to part of planet 4. And I'm thinking this could be like dense jungle. For instance, aircraft imagery has found something, but obviously they need to track a path through the forest in order for landing vehicles, or in order to to make a landing site. I'm thinking this kind of thing. So it's going to be like proper boots on the ground stuff that aircraft can't do. Find and recover artifact in space. I quite like this one. I'm drawn towards this one because I think this could basically become a dungeon crawl. Because we can just make, whether it's a dungeon is a crypt under a church or the floor plan of a ship, it's still a dungeon. It follows very similar principles. So this could be quite fun. I'm leaning towards this one. Find and recover individual. Last time to planet 2. Huh. You know what? I am, because I've talked about it too many times now. We're going to go for the artifact in space. In fact, do we want to have a look at our characters? Will our characters have any preferences here? So I don't think many of them are fans of boots on the ground, like trudging through mud, survival, camping, like macheteing through things, rock climbing, if they've got to traverse terrain. I don't think many of our crew are fans of kind of getting their hands dirty from mud, like roughing their knees on. Maybe Fiona is, but I think there's a majority not. So I think by nature of our team, apart from the colonist maybe, yeah, it's not leading on it. Artifact in space is kind of cool. Space station, yeah. You know what? To hell with it. We're gonna go for number 2. So we're gonna pick number 2. So we're gonna choose quest 2. So one of the things I've absolutely no idea about is going to be rewards and how I want to handle rewards. Because, money makes the world go round and all that. So something I could have done actually is figured out which quest kind of offered money. But kept it simple, maybe like treasure, like high, medium, or low. In fact, let's stick to a D6. Let's give. Yeah, let's just do high, medium, low for each for like number 2. So yeah, we're gonna ask about quest 2. What reward does it give us? What type of reward is it? Low. So it's a relatively low reward in comparison. What I could do actually is I should probably roll this for the quest before I choose. I think that's something to do for the future. Is consider 1d6 for reward, or rather 1d3. 1d3 to determine reward. Okay, so it's a low reward, but that's fine. I think it's fine. I think that's just perfectly fine. Like last time decision planet 6. I don't think it's that big a problem. Like planet 6 is super close as well, actually. That may be why we were leaning towards it. Is that I don't want to spend days, weeks camping or trucking through forest and rivers and so on. doing, trying to find access to an area on our current planet. Find somebody on planet 2 is all the way over there, like near the center of the solar system. That's a journey. But last known position of a missing ship, planet 6. Yep, hop over. Let's go. Let's get that done. Cool. So, with that in mind, we can obviously look at preparing for the quest. I think that might be the next sort of conversation. Well, we need to think about what is Planet 6. I think that's something to consider. What is Planet 6? Preparing for the job in question, and do we gain any information? Like, is there any information about this missing ship that could help us with the planning? But yeah, as we'll just tell a story and figure out what we're going to do next. So, after some thinking, I have figured out how best to determine what type of ship we are looking for. And I decided, because my poor brain wasn't working very well, I forgot that these bits of paper that I printed off actually have got a great place of inspiration. Now, under the dungeon sheet, which we'll be using, because I said this ship is going to be a dungeon crawl, we have a theme up here. And of course, in a fantasy setting, this is the theme of the dungeon. And it's a 1 to 6, and it says criminal, haunted, infested, unnatural, magic, and occult. Now, I completely appreciate that not all of this screams science fiction, and that's kind of the whole point of this, right? It's for me, can I do a sci-fi game using these? And I think I can. So when we look back at the themes, if we go from top down, criminal, 100%. That works in sci-fi, no problems at all. However, the next two, haunted and infested. Now, obviously, the supernatural is less of a thing when we're dealing with more of a realistic sci-fi vibe. But haunted and infested, I think they can be combined together to give us a like mechanical or electrical problems, like a problem and fault. Like haunted and infested, I'm thinking the first thing that led me to go down this thought was like ghosts in the machine, massive electrical faults, computer faults. For those fans of Warhammer, machine spirits, that kind of thing. So that's where I think that theme can go down. Like what went wrong, or what was our report? Like if the theme was criminal, maybe they were hit by pirates. If we roll haunted, infested, it would be significant technical fault. The next two, unnatural and magic, I think that's going to be... So there's a line I always remember, which is that magic is just science that hasn't been discovered yet or known about yet. So I'm thinking if it's unnatural or magic, then I'm thinking this might be a lab ship where something went wrong, which could be exciting. And number 6, occult. I think occult is absolutely fine to pass up. Maybe just cults got involved. There's a conspiracy. All kinds of crazy stuff. So this is kind of cool. So that's how I'm going to be reinterpreting the themes. Next up, type. Obviously, we have cave, crypt, temple, ruin, lair, and hideout. Again, very fantasy-themed tropes. I'm going to be running this, because we know we're going to a ship, I'm going to be doing 1 to 6, where 1 is a small ship and 6 is a large ship. And we're basically going to be using the 1 to 6 as like a size scale, depending on how big the ship is. For point of reference, I think the scout ship that the players have is size 0, because it's going to be the smallest thing. It's a proper little like exploration thing. So yeah, so 1 to 6 depending on how big it is. Up here we have adjective. This is like the crypt of the hidden, the hidden gods or something, right? I don't think we'll be using this. We might, in fact, yeah, we'll use this to give us inspiration on what the ship might be, what's the name of the ship is. I think that'd be kind of cool. We might just roll like once on the noun or something to give us some inspiration. But that is going to be the theme of the vessel and some kind of information. And then everything else we'll be dealing with when we actually do the dungeon. So, what is this ship? Oh, got my papers all mixed up. So, the theme. Now, I talked about the theme of reinterpreting to more less magical stuff. So, theme. A 4. So 4 here is unnatural, and what I said earlier was that 4 was going to be like a research ship or some kind of a research vessel. So let's do choose folder reward. Let's do ship info. So just new heading, ship info. Theme 4, which was going to be a research, so a research or a lab, like research ship. So something's gone wrong in the labs. Next up we go for type. So this is going to be the size, where we just do 1 being a small ship, 6 being a large ship, and it's a scale. Ooh. 4. Okay, so it's a reasonably large ship. So size 4. I'll figure out exactly what that means, I think, later. That might determine how many rooms there are. Oh, in fact, actually, boom. Here we go. Aha. Always trust the paper. Down here in the bottom left, I'll show you, there is actually a size to rooms number, and it looks like size 4 is 2d6 plus 2. And then it looks like special rooms to complete. I need to complete 2 special rooms to like find the item or like solve the dungeon or whatever. So cool. So we'll just copy that because, you know, that's how many rooms the ship will have. Stunning. Ah, perfect. Oh, that's great. That's really, really good. I'm really happy that that exists. That makes my life so much easier. So I'll write it down in here in the book to make it easy. So size 4. Oh, no, we can actually roll this now. So size 4 means we're going to go for, so what is it? 2d6 plus 2 rooms. So how many... so when I say rooms, I don't mean airlocks or corridors? Yeah, because I appreciate like a castle and a ship are designed in very different ways. So we'll obviously have to use our imagination to kind of like move things around a little bit. But like connecting corridors, I'm not going to include, and airlocks, I'm not going to include in that regard. Cool. So 2d6 plus 2. Let's go. That's 6. Oh, let's move that down. 6 plus 2, so 8. So 8 rooms. And that means there are... oh, did I? Was that correct? Do I need to roll size separately? Oh, I just had a thought. Maybe this isn't. Or maybe... Okay, no. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to ignore type entirely. Type here doesn't work because, you know, cave, crypt, temple. No. What I'm actually doing is I'm already doing what it's asking down here, where I roll a d6 for size. So because I rolled a 4, 2d6 plus 2. So yeah, in the future we're going to ignore the type of ship or type of dungeon unless pertinent. Cool. So size, that, and then special rooms to complete. A 3, which is 2 special rooms. So this is going to be cool. So that's just stuff for later. Okay, so it's a research ship with 8 rooms, 2 special rooms. Cool. And then the name, what's the name of the ship? Let's roll on one of them. Ravens or Deaths? No, not Deaths. Let's go with Raven. Let's go with lab ship. I mean, the Raven could work, but I feel like we've only got 6 operatives. We're going to run out very, very quickly. Raven something. Let's find another name generator and do something Raven. Or Raven something. What have we got? Oh, settlements. Here we go. Settlements down here. We've got a number of random like prefixes. Let's go for... Yeah, let's roll and see what happens. So, Raven Morn, Raven Frost, Raven Black. Black Raven. Research ship called the Black Raven. That's exciting. That sounds very government, doesn't it? Yeah, Black Raven. Why not? So, cool. Research ship called the Black Raven. I mean, probably not government, actually. Like, sounds independent. Irrelevant. Either way, the ship is called... the purpose of it is unknown. The ship is called the Black Raven. It is a research ship or a ship that had some kind of interesting technology on it, or was out doing a task that is relatively secretive and... What was it? What did I roll? Unnatural, didn't I? Yeah, so with unnatural, yeah, it was a ship out there performing a strange task, an unusual task. It could be weapons testing, even. Called the Black Raven, and we have to discover an artifact within it. Recover an artifact. And the second I said weapon testing, maybe there is actually a weapon on board that we need to recover. Ooh, so let's do I'll put weapon testing, question mark. I still don't precisely know what the item is we're recovering, but I think we're slowly getting there. Maybe we'll discover it when we're in the ship itself. We'll find the thing. Okay, so that is the context of our mission. We know the location. It's on Planet 6. We know the ship itself and what it is. So with all of this prepped, we need to start thinking about equipment. Now, like, how do we prep for the mission? One of the things we don't know is the ship was last seen around Planet 6. Was it last seen, or rather, its last known position? So it'll probably be like where it reported in, or where it was told to go. That's probably it. Where was the ship told to go? That's the best place to start looking. Was it supposed to be in orbit, or was it supposed to land on the planet? That's a good question. Let's go with 1 to 3. It was told to be in orbit. No, 5, 6. It was actually told to land on the planet. Okay, so the ship landed on the planet as part of a mission or a purpose. So was landed. So yeah, so its mission, and I've imagined, well, this is the information we've got. The Black Raven's mission was to land on Planet 6 and do something. We don't know. We don't know what that thing is. It could be weapon testing. It could be like research, some nefarious research of some kind. And it hasn't come back. It was supposed to come back some time ago, and it hasn't radioed. It hasn't, nothing's happened. It's just gone missing. So we've got to find the ship somewhere on Planet 6. So this is an exciting little angle, because now we have to determine some information about the surface of Planet 6. Not a huge amount. I'm not going to map out the entire planet. That'd be ridiculous. But I think it's important to know if the ship has landed in somewhere like the Sahara Desert, or if it's landed in somewhere like the Amazon rainforest. I think it's best we pick a biome. So landed on Planet 6, but I think we're going to worry about where was it told to land? Were we told where it was supposed to land? Yeah, let's pick some biomes. Let's pick a biome. So fortunately, so the way that I'm interpreting this now is the information that we're getting is the information that was given to the Black Raven as part of their mission brief. So their mission brief was to land on Planet 6 in an area, like a predetermined area, but they haven't come back. So obviously things have changed and the ship is late. So let's determine what happened. So fortunately, our delightful printouts, which I absolutely love, by the way. Thank you, Chowclips, for sharing this with the wider world. We have terrain. We have terrain types here. So we will roll a d6 and determine what terrain type we have where the Black Raven was supposed to land. We rolled a 6. Wasteland. Wasteland. Do we want wasteland to be? What does wasteland mean? What is wasteland? What could wasteland be? Just like open, like bushland? I'm thinking like, so it's not desert. It's desert but with shrubs. So I'm thinking kind of like the African bush, the Australian bush. Yeah, okay, so let's go with hot. So landed on Planet 6 in a hot environment. And let's go with like bushland is the area. So like an equatorial location with not a lot of very dry kind of environment. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm thinking like, either sort of African bushland or, Australian kind of bush as well. So that's the theme. So that's where, so we know where the ship was supposed to land. We have the location from its mission brief. So we know where to start looking. And that's probably like a big thing for this quest. So, okay, so that's the environment. I don't really want to map out the whole of Planet 6. There's no need to. We're just going to go there and go to this one location anyway. So I'm not entirely sure we have much more to do. Was there... Here we go. Did they land near... So on this terrain generation chart at the top, there's a water section as well. And I wonder, do we know if there's a water source, or is there a water source at the location where they landed? Like, A one? No. Okay, so they didn't land next to a river or a lake or anything like that. So that's fine. So no nearby water. Now, a big thing is obviously we're going to have to find out, is the ship actually there or are they somewhere else? So that's going to be an interesting thing. Now, just having a look at the rest of the charts here, is there anything that could inspire us a little? I'm happy with the terrain. Black Raven. Is there anything else? Perhaps anything in the dungeon area? No, I think I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy that we now know enough about the Black Raven to search for it and try to find the artifact inside. And of course, the next question is going to be travelling there and figuring that out. So I'm going to call this here, and next time we meet, we will probably be opening the doors of the Black Raven and seeing what's inside.